Something in you knows a harsh cycle has reached its end, and it wasn't chance. It was your conscious choice to break the chains of old toxic patterns in your lineage. This break took sacrifice, tears, and a steadfast refusal to carry forward the burdens your family accepted for generations. Right now, watch at least 12 minutes to confirm you're ready. Hit like, subscribe, and comment 77 so the universe sees you're open. Then, in a natural voice, leave another comment, ready for what's next, to trigger immediate benefits and step into a new season of transformation. Chapter 1. You saw a broken path in your family's past and decided to heal instead. You recognized long ago that your family's habits and beliefs were wounded. Maybe you saw repeated cycles of violence, abuse, or stifling limitation. You tried to ignore it at first, telling yourself it wasn't that bad, yet the truth weighed on your mind. Something kept nagging, this is not how you want to live, and you were right. God blessed you with an eye that can see beyond the illusions that trapped your ancestors. You glimpsed the root cause, a generational curse or a pattern of toxic coping, and you vowed not to pass it on. Deep inside, you understood that if you didn't stand up, the cycle would repeat endlessly, harming the next generation just as it had harmed you. So, you took steps others in your lineage never dared. You dared to question why certain behaviors were accepted as normal. You dared to confront family members who insisted you just go along. That took courage. It also took heartbreak as you felt misunderstood. Some relatives accused you of thinking you were better than them or of betraying the family. You questioned your sanity at times, wondering if your intuition was leading you astray. But your spirit wouldn't relent. There was a quieter, deeper part of you shaped by God that insisted you see the full truth, that these patterns were never part of your destiny. Pain was your teacher. You observed how the same patterns of abuse or fear repeated across multiple relatives, each generation slightly heavier. The day came when you realized you were next in line to carry that weight. But you refused. You recognized your autonomy. Perhaps you left a home environment riddled with negativity. Perhaps you got therapy or immersed yourself in spiritual practices that revealed a new way of living. People said, nobody in this family does that, and that only fueled your determination. Chosen ones exist to break the mold, to challenge illusions, no matter how deeply embedded. With each boundary you set, each conversation you stirred, you hammered a crack in the generational cage. You demanded better for yourself and your potential children or younger siblings who might look up to you. That's how you wrote your destiny, by seeing the pattern, naming it as harmful, and insisting on a different path. The cost was high. Maybe you lost closeness with certain relatives, or you were forced to navigate your healing without much guidance. Still, you persevered because an inner voice repeated, "It ends with me." And you were right. The old ways won't continue now that you've exposed them. All the while, the universe observed your courage, your heartbreak, your unwavering push to unlearn harmful beliefs. It recognized your soul was evolving so quickly that you'd outgrown the system that once tried to contain you. As that happened, blessings aligned. They might have trickled in slowly, but each micro-breakthrough reminded you that heaven sees and rewards those who choose truth over comfort. Now, standing free from your family's toxic shadows, you're on the verge of a grander life than your ancestors could ever imagine. Through your decisive actions, you've opened the door for new patterns, patterns built on peace, respect, and genuine love, to flourish in your bloodline. Chapter 2. You heeded the whisper that told you to question everything. You felt alone when you noticed people around you accepting things you found unacceptable. Whether it was cyclical violence, emotional manipulation, or quiet family secrets, it all seemed normal to them. But to you, It rang wrong, as if you'd awakened to a deeper moral code. You wondered, why doesn't anyone else see the harm here? You struggled with guilt. Should you just keep your head down like everyone else? Yet your spirit wouldn't allow it. You pressed on, dissecting old family myths, unraveling the illusions that kept everyone trapped. That was the day your watchers recognized your path as a chosen one. To question everything wasn't easy. You faced gaslighting, where people insisted you imagined the severity of the problem. You endured nights of internal conflict, crying, writing, praying. But your divine spark is precisely what made you question. God placed critical thinking in your nature, equipping you with a mental sword to cut away deception. People who prefer comfort over truth can't stand that blade. They brand you rebellious or ungrateful. Let them. In your heart, you knew you were forging a path toward a healthier existence, even if it disrupted the stagnant status quo. Digging deeper, you discovered patterns, not just in your immediate family, but in older generations. Grandparents or great-grandparents who quietly tolerated emotional or physical abuse. That heavy heritage had weighed on your entire line, forging a chain of repeated heartbreak. Realizing this, you let your empathy expand to them, understanding they might have lacked resources or the self-awareness you now possess. In that compassion, you found reason to break free. If they couldn't, you must. If they were powerless in their era, you aren't in yours. As you separated from these entrenched beliefs, you might have second-guessed your capacity. Could one person defy centuries of ingrained patterns, but each time fear rose, you felt an unseen presence, maybe ancestors cheering from the other side or angels guiding your footsteps. You recognized that your mission wasn't random. The universe invests in chosen souls precisely to end generational curses, and your watchers validated that every time you mustered the courage to confront an injustice or stand against an abusive tradition. This questioning spirit also led you to new forms of knowledge. Maybe you studied psychology, sociology, or spiritual healing, devouring materials that explained the cyclical nature of trauma. You realized you weren't crazy. There were frameworks describing exactly what you lived through. Armed with information, you dismantled lies about who you were supposed to be. Freed from mental captivity, you embraced personal responsibility for shaping a new lineage. Looking back, you see how crucial that whisper was. Without it, you'd have drowned in illusions, perpetuating the same broken norms. Now, you stand as the family outlier, the one who said, "No more." People might call you cold or detached, but that's only because they can't fathom the labor it took to free yourself. Truth be told, you love your family, your heritage, but you refuse to let any human tradition overshadow divine truths. The universe nods in approval, acknowledging your bold devotion to a higher moral code. In that unwavering stand, you anchor a new possibility. Your bloodline can be associated with healing rather than sorrow. You questioned everything, and that was your superpower. You unleashed a wave of transformation, unstoppable to those clinging to outdated illusions. Chapter 3. You discovered a deep current of love in the spiritual realm. Amid the friction with your earthly kin, you realized how immeasurably cherished you are by unseen allies, ancestors, angels, watchers, all rooting for you to break the suffocating cycles that plagued your lineage. While your immediate family might have misunderstood or even opposed your defiance, higher realms applaud your every step. At first, it feels surreal. You see yourself as ordinary, battered by life. Yet they see you as a champion forging a new legacy. At night, you might sense a gentle warmth, like soft hands on your shoulders. That's your cosmic supporters, aware of how lonely the path can be, consoling you in tangible ways. Maybe your dreams have begun offering encouragement, or visions of a future you could embrace if you persist. These aren't random coincidences. Heaven invests in your success because your success liberates an entire lineage. Some days doubt creeps in. Am I making this up? Do ancestors really cheer me on? Are angels truly defending me? Yet personal experiences confirm it. A near miss that miraculously resolved, kindness arriving right when you nearly broke down, unexplainable events revealing an active protective field. The more you accept it, the easier it is to sense their guidance. Your watchers can only intervene to the extent you remain open to help. This profound current of love also shapes how you respond to your family's negativity. Instead of hostility, you find empathy, recognizing they are bound by illusion. You stand firm, but without hatred, mirroring how your watchers stand by you with unwavering love, even when you doubt or resist. Fueled by this spiritual love, you can maintain healthy boundaries without bitterness. That's vital for chosen ones. You stay loving while refusing to uphold destructive norms. Additionally, this love cements your self-worth. You're far more than any labels pinned on you. If God sees you as is worthy of rewriting generational destinies, how could you be insignificant? This awareness fuels your confidence to do what nobody else in your family dared, launching a business, relocating, or advocating social causes. Unburdened from old emotional traps, you boldly engage the world, grounded in the divine love saturating your soul. Paradoxically, the more you radiate that divine love, the more it filters into your family line. Even if some relatives shun you, seeds are planted. A younger relative watching might quietly draw inspiration from your example. Over time, an entirely new branch of potential grows from that seed, simply because you believed in a love bigger than ancestral regret. In this sense, your watchers aren't just your safety net, they're your strategists, orchestrating ripple effects that rewrite destiny, not just for you, but for every generation that witnesses your shining path. Chapter 4. You stared down the pain and transmuted it into fuel. Your transformation wasn't easy. You had to wrestle with old wounds, betrayals, and the heartbreak woven into your family's history. Sometimes you collapsed under the weight of it all, yet every breakdown became a breakthrough. Pain became your teacher, revealing precisely what needed to change. Instead of letting it crush you, you turned it into rocket fuel to escape the low ceiling that trapped generations. Each turn shattered your clan's delusions, forging clarity you otherwise couldn't have found. In the past, you tried to outrun your hurt, but bottled-up pain doesn't disappear. It festers, fueling aggression or despair. Recognizing this, you chose another path, facing your anguish head-on. You might have pursued therapy, devoured self-help books, or embraced prayer, meditation, and journaling. Each tool chipped away at the poison you'd inherited. Ironically, the greatest agony became your doorway to empathy. By confronting your own suffering, you sharpened your ability to sense others' pain, an empathy your family may have lacked for generations. This alchemy, converting pain into empathy, was the key to ending destructive cycles. If your ancestors coped by normalizing abuse or burying trauma, you refused to follow that script. You confronted it, let it reshape your heart, and found potential blessings where your lineage saw only curses. It wasn't a single event, but a daily practice, admitting your hurts, naming your triggers, and charging forward to break free. Repetition became the formula for rewriting destiny. You may have tried sharing insights with relatives, showing how facing hidden pain could free them from generational curses. Some dismissed you, unwilling to remove decades-old thorns. You realized your role wasn't to force their enlightenment, but to lead by example. So you focused on your own healing, modeling a new norm built on love, honesty, and healthy boundaries instead of shame and silence. Over time, you noticed how far you'd come. Old triggers lost their power. Your family's usual coping mechanisms, yelling, blame, denial, clashed with your new mindset. You were forever changed from within, and no one could force you back into your old shape. This metamorphosis is genuine, grounded in self-awareness and bold confrontation with pain. That's how you rewrote your family line, through a fierce willingness to transform pain rather than pass it on. Rather than becoming another link in the chain, you became the breakpoint. People might admire your resilience, but you know it isn't magic. It's the harvest of every tear shed, every step into unknown emotional territory. Freed from old illusions, your spirit soared to new heights, driving you to keep turning negativity into empathy, heartbreak into wisdom, ensuring your family's cycle of toxicity truly ends with you. Chapter 5. You created a path of healthy boundaries and genuine acceptance. Once you saw the old patterns and faced your heartbreak, the next critical move was setting firm boundaries that once felt impossible. In your lineage, lines were blurred and guilt was used to keep control. Breaking that cycle demanded a radical shift in how you say no, how you shield your emotional sanctuary, and how you define loyalty. At first, it felt alien to resist family habits like tolerating gossip or absorbing abuse for the sake of peace. But true unity can't grow on smothered pain. Thus, you formed boundaries that safeguarded your newly awakened spirit from their old illusions. These boundaries weren't about punishing anyone. They were about preserving the environment where your soul thrives. You stopped over-explaining yourself to unsupportive relatives. Each time you tried, they used it to twist or tear down your boundaries. Instead, you offered concise, firm statements, refusing drawn-out debates. To those who thrived on drama, you became dull, and that was a win. With fewer energy-sapping interactions, you nurtured authenticity, creativity, and deeper self-understanding. Simultaneously, you found or attracted relationships that honored these boundaries. Your watchers guided you to like-minded friends or mentors who appreciated your new approach. They admired how you formed a healthy identity apart from generational baggage. Their acceptance showed you the contrast between false loyalty and genuine connection. Loyalty can thrive where honesty flourishes, not where illusions remain. Free from the compulsion to conform to manipulative norms, you learned that real bonds arise when everyone respects each other's lines in the sand. Conflict did erupt with relatives who accused you of deserting the family. They claimed you were brainwashed or selfish, but you saw through it. What they labeled selfishness was really your self-care. Their outrage revealed their unwillingness to abandon old cycles. You accepted their responses without letting them derail you, focusing on the bigger picture. Your destiny needed a supportive, not stifling setting. Being misunderstood was part of rewriting your lineage's legacy. Your watchers noticed every boundary you maintained, recognizing your ability to handle deeper blessings. If you couldn't uphold healthy limits with family, how would you manage expansions in career, finances, or spiritual gifts? Boundaries aren't just interpersonal mechanisms. They're spiritual principles that ensure you can sustain greater blessings. Each time you stood your ground, you set a new standard that freed you and provided a model for future generations. Observing the shift, you see these boundaries pave the way for genuine acceptance, both of who you are and who your family members are. Whether they choose to heal or not, you no longer force anyone to change. You simply refuse to perpetuate toxicity. That choice fosters respect, occasionally prompting some relatives to reconsider their path. The old pattern of forced compliance is dissolving, replaced by clarity, mutual respect, and open doors. In holding firm boundaries, you discovered you can love them without losing yourself, bridging compassion and self-preservation in ways your lineage never grasped. Through this transformation, you sealed the generational cycle's fate, forging a new legacy of authenticity and well-being. Chapter 6. You're experiencing a wave of prosperity and emotional freedom. After all your diligence, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, you're seeing doors swing open in ways you never expected. A dream job offer appears, a side hustle takes off, or a new inner calm replaces anxiety. This sudden prosperity and peace aren't random. It's the universe's response to your brave decision to cut toxic ties and redefine your lineage. Materially, finances improve. If you once assumed scarcity was your family's fate, you're now witnessing abundance as a genuine possibility. The difference? Your mindset. Where you once feared financial risks, mirroring old family patterns, you now greet opportunity with openness. And because your watchers support your choice to break destructive cycles, they orchestrate blessings aligned with your new perspective. Money might flow through fresh channels, or existing ones expand beyond luck. This is what happens when God rewrites your story and you stand in truth. Emotionally, you're no longer weighed down by others' judgments. The guilt or shame inherited from your family's blueprint lifts. You can dream big without the inner critic hissing, "Stay in your lane." You can rest without feeling lazy, speak your truth without fear of exile, and boldly try new things. Freed from old baggage, you stride confidently where you once tiptoed. You also spot toxic cycles more clearly now. A new relationship may echo past sabotage, but you steer clear with renewed awareness. Every wise choice reaffirms your transformation, proving you're no longer who you once were. No guilt or second-guessing, just a decisive no to anything hinting at old illusions. An added bonus? Your creativity thrives. Without the mental clutter of fear and guilt, fresh ideas emerge. You might paint, write, design, or innovate at work. The generational curse that once stifled you gives way to a surge of creative energy, as if the universe pours new possibilities to you. You may even be the first in your family to build a career fueled by passion. Amid these rewards, stay humble. Your spiritual practice remains vital. The same watchers who guided you out of bondage still matter. Arrogance or neglect could erode your breakthrough. But if you remain aligned, each day multiplies the blessings, surpassing old family limits and guiding any relatives who one day decide to break free themselves. Such is the unstoppable force of your new prosperity and emotional freedom, deeply rooted in the hard-won truth you now live. Chapter 7. You are the unmistakable breaker of cycles and bringer of hope. Look at where you stand now. You see how once unshakable patterns controlling your family have lost their grip. You've proven that generational curses do not dictate your life. By overcoming illusions, setting boundaries, finding cosmic allies, and stepping into a new paradigm, you've become the unstoppable force elders doubted you could be. By rewriting your destiny, you also offer a blueprint for those still trapped in toxic cycles. Your watchers, angels, ancestors, and God himself applaud your courage. They know many tried but faltered. You prevailed because you blended raw determination with humility, empathy with firm boundaries. You embody the dual nature of chosen souls, a gentle heart capable of fiercely defending its domain. If your family once carried curses of abuse or poverty, you now hold a torch of healing and abundance, lighting your path and offering hope to siblings, cousins, or younger relatives. But this victory isn't the end. It's a launch pad. Freed from generational baggage, your transformative power extends well beyond your household. You can inspire co-workers to break harmful patterns, encourage friends to heal old wounds, or share insights publicly to guide strangers longing for freedom. God's expansions rarely remain private. Some chosen ones discover new callings, counseling, writing, teaching, turning personal breakthroughs into collective blessings. Yes, distant relatives may label you disloyal or too big for your britches. Their jabs no longer affect you. You see their words as echoes of ancestral illusions that never benefited anyone's growth. Instead of fighting back, you radiate quiet resolve, affirming that you won't let old programming steal a future built on peace and progress. Future generations, your children, nieces, or nephews, will ask how you did it. They'll want to know where you found the strength to defy the norm. Your testimony of spiritual guidance, self-reflection, and unwavering morals becomes their heritage. No more silent acceptance of abuse. No more, "That's just how it is." That worldview collapses behind you. Throughout it all, stay humble and receptive. You're a cycle breaker, not a deity. Your watchers cheer, yet they also watch to ensure you keep evolving. You've shattered the generational curse, but you'll continue forging expansions for those who follow. So step forward, chosen one, fully awake. You haven't just changed your story, you've reshaped your entire family line's narrative. The toxic patterns end with you. No disclaimers needed. In that radical position, you become the unstoppable wave God intended for your lineage. Now, with a free mind and an open heart, you carry that wave outward, living proof that even the darkest cycles yield to a determined soul, embracing its rightful freedom.